So we landed back from our honeymoon on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I went to school on Monday. And I never stopped going after that. I've learned from Dr. Jayshree Periwal, my mother-in-law, who always says that every child is my guru. And it's so true.
How's Jayshree ma'am as a mentor?
Oh, I think she is the best mentor that anyone could have.
Hi guys, welcome back to the TheDiviShow. You're on episode number 27. कल मैं live गई थी Instagram पे with this very talented journalist. She has worked with the magazines and media brands like Condé Nast, like Vogue, and so much more. And she asked me, the interviewee, some wonderful questions. So I'll put the link in our YouTube description. Please go and check that out. That's the first time an interview was getting interviewed. So I would love for you guys to see that. आज जो हमारी guest आने वाली है, this will be a special episode for the students, the teachers, the members of Jayshree Periwal School. She is the daughter-in-law of Jayshree ma'am, and we are so excited to call her today. And hopefully बहुत सारी बातें होंगी और बहुत सारी inspiration मिलेगी. How this very unique duo functions, a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, and how are they rising JPGS above the bar together. I hope we get a lot of special moments out from her and discuss more about her inspiration behind this and what her journey has been like with Jayshree Periwal School. So stay tuned. I'll see you in the end. So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. I've been waiting for you to be my passenger princess since a very long time.
It's my pleasure. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Candid car conversations.
For sure. Like I was asking you, like a lot of my guests also asked me कि कोई questions हैं तो आप हमें पहले भेज दें. I'm like, no question यार, आराम से.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I saw some of them and I was like, I think it's more relaxed and it's like
So how's your day like? क्या चल रहा है आजकल?
Day is good. We have a lot going on at work actually. So back to back with that, couple of exciting events coming up, which we have pioneered for the first time in India. We have this Interschool IB competition.
Right.
So it's only for the IB schools, and we have schools joining in from Delhi, Bombay, from South, from East, all over.
Wow.
And there are 3 competitions to it. And the entrepreneurship one is being judged by India's Shark from Shark Tank India, Namita Thapar. So busy with planning of that.
Wow. So this will be for which grade students?
The competition is for grade 9 to 12. But a unique part of it is that students are actually coming together to crowdfund. So it's students for students. They want to contribute to Pathshala, which provides education to the underprivileged. So students of grade 6 to 12 are crowdfunding. And they want to raise 35 lakhs for Pathshala.
This is amazing. And teaching them very young.
Very young.
It's fabulous, I think. So is this your brain baby?
Yes, it is.
Wow, man, amazing. I think at the scale at which Jaipur's entrepreneurial culture and ecosystem is growing, I think this is the best infused seed that is going to grow and flourish Jaipur after 10 years from now.
Absolutely. So I think there were certain things we learned in COVID. You know how we can make an impact, all of us together in a big way, but from our own homes. So crowdfunding was a big learning of that. And during COVID, we did Students for Unified Relief. So that time we were at home and I thought that what are our students doing about the situation? So we got together and our students crowdfunded and they actually raised 42 lakhs.
Wow.
And they donated more than 60 oxygen concentrators.
Wow.
Yes, so that was a great learning and we've tried to take away so much from that time and continue those learnings even in the way the world works today.
And back, I think when we were doing our schooling, schools usually thought of us as their, probably a liability, and we were converting them into an asset.
They are.
They definitely are.
Yes.
But it's just about finding their potential, each and everyone.
Yes, there's so much we have to learn from children,
Yeah.
I've learned from Dr. Jayshree Periwal, my mother-in-law, who always says that every child is my guru. And it's so true. We all learn so much from the students we work with on a daily basis.
Right. What's your recent learning?
My recent learning is about having a growth mindset. So, when you see children who are in grade 11 but yet are not fearful about exploration, trying something that they haven't done before, the desire that I can fail but I will learn from this failure. So when children come and say, I've never done this before, but I don't mind learning. I want to try my hand at writing. I've never written before. I'm a STEM student, but I want to be an author. So this multidisciplinary approach, this ability to actually put yourself out there, outside the comfort zone, this reminder. So I think just working with these young minds keeps you rejuvenated to even expand your own horizons.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you miss about your school life, and how is that different from the kids who are there now?
What do I miss about my school life? So I think about my school life, what I miss is the ease and comfort. I think that we were all very set in our daily routines. There was so much of free time. So that is something to be considered, because in today's day and age, we don't really give ourselves the time to just be free, just have that 2-3 hours which are not planned. All of us are living a very timetabled day, so 4 p.m. to 4:45 and 4:45 to 5:30. So we've learned from Elon Musk and his time blocking, but some days you just sit and you miss that. Okay, used to go back home and have mom's kadhi chawal and just be free for a couple of hours.
Right.
It was very simple.
Yeah, simple times for sure.
Yeah.
And we do miss that. I think kids nowadays have this proper schedule packed.
They do.
Hobbies and then pursuing curriculum and back to back. Oh my god, so challenging.
It's challenging, but I think it's nice because we see them go to college and we see them join their careers and they're ready for that. They are tasting the real world very early on.
Right.
So that's what's nice to see. And they're able to challenge themselves in an environment where there's someone to hold them if they fall.
Right.
So, rather than when you're out there later on and you don't have that guidance, you don't have that support.
Right.
But if you're facing tumultuous times in school, there are people around you to hold you. Yeah. Wow. So that's definitely an advantage.
Wow. Let's go back into your journey. I think you started with JPGS in 2014.
2014, yeah.
So almost touching 10 years now.
You're almost touching 10 years. So we landed back from our honeymoon on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I went to school on Monday. And I never stopped going after that.
That was your first day?
That was my first day.
How was your
school.
first day like?
My first day, I was enamored. I was obviously nervous.
Right.
I was excited. And I just felt this strong sense of belonging. That, this is what I want to do. That Monday was so exciting. And what I tell people even today is, I don't know, so I'm sure everybody doesn't know, but I shifted from law, right? I was an international trade lawyer with Ernst & Young, and then I shifted into the field of education. And why I did that shift is the whole concept of a Monday being joyful. It should be something you look forward to. That's when you're in a work or you're in a field of work that you really enjoy. So that's what I feel right now. I don't have a Sunday evening depression or this extreme excitement about having a bank holiday, which I used to have at that point of time. And now we work on a weekend also. So August, September, October, November, December, we work 7 days a week because we counsel all our students for their universities within school. None of our students take external counseling. So to do that, we call them on a weekend. And so we are happy to work 7 days a week. We don't feel the need that, okay, let's take another day off on a weekday because we're working on a weekend. So that's what shows you that you're in the right field.
For sure. How was law like?
I think very boring to me. In terms of impact, I think I've always been somebody where I wanted to see that what I was doing, the time I was putting in, had some impact in the world around me. And I feel that now, working with students towards their social initiatives, pushing them to be innovative, to solve world problems, so on and so forth. So I feel that joy, even like when you counsel a student and you get that call at 3 a.m. that they got into the university of their choice. Ma'am, my Yale acceptance has come in. I got into Stanford. Somebody who got in on 100% scholarship, and then their career is transforming their family life. So all of this gives you so much more joy than when I was in the legal field. That being said, I think there's a lot that I learned there that I apply here. I think a lot of my analysis and writing has been taken from my time there. You really have to read 300-page cases very quickly. So the ability to skim read but smartly read. So it really, there's a lot of takeaway and learning that came from there. And my time at law school, where I took part in moot competitions. We were exposed to a global moot competition where we mooted against Harvard. And
Which
we beat
college
them,
were you in?
which is my excitement.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I was in Jindal Law School for my masters.
Okay, this is in Mumbai, right?
This is in Sonipat.
Acha, okay.
Yes. So I was their first batch of LLM, and I got the Khaitan and Company scholarship to study there. Prior to that, I studied my LLB at University of Warwick, UK.
Wow.
So it was, definitely was very educational for me, and there's a lot that I learned during this, honing oratory, speaking skills, linguistic, everything which is now applicable, so transferable. So it was a very good part of my life, but I love the work I currently am in, and I don't miss the legal field
At all.
at all.
Wow. Where are you from exactly?
I'm from Delhi.
Delhi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm born and brought up there, and I schooled there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. How is Delhi different than Jaipur?
So I think Delhi is a very big city, due to which your schedule and the way you meet people has to be planned a lot more. People in Delhi, Monday to Friday, it's literally about your work or your school and your plan for that, because you really can't be doing 4 different colonies in one day. But I came to Jaipur, and at that time we were living in the heart of the city, and I found that people are making plans for 10 minutes later because you can. You know, because it's a smaller city, and because it's a smaller city, it's more close-knit. So that was a very big difference. And I think that Jaipur's focus on culture, on cultural events is fabulous. So I've really enjoyed immersing in these cultural events, in, you know, art, literature, and all of these things that keep taking place. Jaipur being such a strong tourist hub and being the pink city. So I think that a lot of people situate a lot of their, for example, we are home to GLF, right? So like that, there's so much that happens in the city, which, because it's a smaller city, you actually engage yourself in. There are events that happen in Delhi, but because of distances and being a big city life, you don't commit to so much of that. So
you don't get to also experience those things.
Yes, you don't get to experience. So I think the warmth and love that Jaipur offers is not, you know, you can't connect it to Delhi at all. It's a very different place.
That's so true. You've been to Jaipur before your marriage, or that was the first time?
Because you know how Jaipur is always such a famous destination for these long weekends for Delhiites. So I have come very often actually. My parents and we would take a trip and we would stay here for a couple of days and be touristy in Jaipur. So it's fun for me now. I still remember going to Rajputana, and you know, that bookshop is where I bought my first Harry Potter book. So I'll never forget that. And now it's like I live here.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was you know, courtship like when you started you know, meeting Jayshree ma'am and knowing about her work, and did you at that point think that you will be a huge part of this?
So I didn't at that point anticipate. It intrigued me for sure. I think the first time I went to school, I was intrigued to see the way the school was running and how different it was from the schools we have grown up in, and how nice it was. And at that point itself, so when Ayush, during our courtship, I was thinking about what to do next. And when he proposed to me that, with all your interests and passion, I think it would be nice if you join school and you love it. That idea instantly clicked to me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I used my time in Delhi to do this short diploma on early childhood education. And there's been no looking back ever since. I've created my own space in school where, I look after certain things which are under me. And I think that it's been a beautiful journey in taking JPIS across India. We've added another hostel. So we have children who now see value in JPIs from Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, East, from Andhra Pradesh, and even say Thailand or Dubai. And they are coming to be a part of the boarding house. And it's really nice to see how well known the school has become across the globe.
Yeah. Were you there when it was called Step by Step?
I was there when it was called Step by Step, actually. And when we were renaming the school, it was actually me who proposed the idea that the school is so synonymous with mom, with Dr. Jayshree Periwal, and if we are renaming it, we must call it the Jayshree Periwal Group of Schools.
Wow.
And I think this idea, because of the reason it should be that, and every student should be a JPI. So this idea was loved by everybody.
I'm sure everyone is loving it till now as well.
Absolutely. Students take great pride in being called a JPI. And the name change has been great for the school because there's so much that we were doing in terms of international collaborations with universities. Ayush and myself would travel and we would meet universities and they would say, oh, we emailed your sister school in another city, because the name is a very common name across India. And we would say, we don't have a sister school in another city. So we found that a lot of our work, it was being considered to be the work of a group of schools. And so we wanted to distinguish ourselves as a brand. So this brand identity was done for that.
Wow. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And how's Jayshree ma'am as a mentor?
Oh, I think she is the best mentor that anyone could have, because she encourages everyone to take decisions. She empowers everybody in the leadership team to be more. There's so much that we've learned from her. Even the stage that she's reached today, she never feels that she's reached. She feels there's so much more I can do, and she's still constantly learning. Even her style of talking to parents, students, it's by observing her that I've really learned everything. And her eye for detail, attention to detail. So I often tell her that when when she compliments us on something we've done, then I know it went well. Then I feel happy that, okay, we did something which is of excellence.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting duo that you have, and working with your mother-in-law. How
Trio and my husband
and your husband, how's it like, when at home? I'm sure you guys are discussing work, or are there rules in place?
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. And the fact of the matter is, to be very honest, we don't even make an effort not to. Because we love it. And the victim of this is my father-in-law, who is, he's not involved in the academic and curriculum side of it. Of course, he is in the finance and infrastructure and everything. So he's the silent force behind everything we do. But we do end up taking our discussions to the table, and all of us enjoy it. Even he enjoys it. He knows all the student names and everything. And it really helps for all of us to be in the same space, because I think as a family, then you understand. Today, if I have an event at say 7 p.m, everybody gets it because they're part of it. It's not something that's alien to them. Or if we are working late nights because we have a TEDx event the next day, it's not that mom and dad will question why are we not there at the dinner table. They are happy and proud of us to be doing that. Wow. So I think it works really well.
Wow. Do you bitch about kids
no,
on your dinner table?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. So mom, no, so children are innocent. and they need to be guided. Sometimes if a child is going wrong, it's not because there's an intent, there's always a reason behind it. So, you know, we encourage them to identify the reason behind it, and we like to guide them. And we don't carry forward any obstacle or challenge that we may have faced in that way to home. Yes, home is more about our work and what more we need to do and what is being done, which is nice, and any struggle we face, how can we brainstorm better, how can we make school better. That's the home.
That sounds like a constructive dinner time.
Absolutely. And of course, there's so many moments where we disconnect. We go for a movie together, or there's a birthday celebration. It's not that every meal, with every bite of the dal chawal, there is
work involved.
Wow.
And now you are a mother yourself.
Yes.
Zayar,
yes.
Zayar is his name. Beautiful looking boy.
Thank
I
you.
would love to meet him sometime also.
He would love to join us in the car ride, be a feature in the back seat.
Yeah, I can get the car chair if you need, the baby chair. How has life changed after him?
I think priorities kind of change. So, you know, earlier we used to go to the gym and in the evening at like 5:30, 6 p.m. And one day my husband and I sat and said, we can't go in the evening, because if we go in the evening, what is Zayar's time? We're in school in the day. So we actually started going to the gym at 6 a.m. So we get up at 5 and we leave home at 5:30 to go to the gym at 6 a.m. because that's the time he's sleeping. And then evenings can be only with him. So of course, you know, I think time management has become a very big skill that I have to hone to make sure that my work doesn't suffer and my child doesn't suffer either. Then I think as a working mom, and a lot of working moms will agree with me on this, something that we learn to live with is mom guilt. I still think that there are so many challenges of being a working mom, and I wish that, you know, more and more of us would support working moms in that. To say that, you know, what you're doing is good, what you're doing is enough. So I think it's been a journey for me to actually learn that I'm inspiring him by the fact that he knows that it's mom and dad both who go to school. It's mom who's working equally. So he's learning that, and I think he's going to be mindful of that towards the girls that he dates or the girl that he marries. He's going to understand that women have an equal say in the workforce. And he's going to see that right from his daddy to everybody in his family.
I have multiple questions here. So
go for it.
So after you became a parent, how did your perspective of all the kids who come to your school and their parents changed? Because at this point schools are very, very possessive about kids as well as the parents. So how did your perspective change after becoming a mother?
I think my perspective hasn't changed. What has changed is a lot of the way I view things. So meaning, for example, if I have certain parents who are sitting across me, and I really believe that, you know, they've nurtured their children to be very humble despite their achievements, or they've managed to inculcate certain characteristic traits or intrinsic values in children. Now I often find myself asking them, what did you do right as a parent? Share some examples. So, you know, it's become a conversation where I think that every opportunity that I have with a parent of the school to interact, I too can learn. Because we're all in the parenting journey together. I think, in fact, my perspective hasn't changed, because what helped me as a parent is the ability to have been in school and seen children of all types. We read about Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences. So there's a child who could be an kinesthetic learner. There's a child who could be an auditory learner. There's a child who could be a visual learner. So you understand how every child is unique and every child has their own strengths. So as a parent, I'm not pegging my child into a particular hole or pushing him to achieve my dreams. I am encouraging him, because I have seen that, parents who are involved and parents who instill drive in their children often reap the results later. So I'm not somebody who says, if you don't want to do, it's okay to not do. I don't want in the future to say, as long as my child is happy, it's okay if he's not studying. I don't believe in that, because I've genuinely seen that when parents set expectations for their child which are reasonable, children have that desire to do more. We have to set goals for them. We have to help them set goals for themselves. So all of these things, working with students in school, I've learned. And I'm able to apply
you were
that
already, I think,
to myself as a
armored
parent.
with all of these experiences.
Yes, I have so many examples of, I've worked with parents to give them ideas on how to turn a child around, or on how to help a child overcome a struggle. So those things help me in my journey as a parent. Yeah.
Wow. And you were mentioning, about the support as a mom, and I have seen you in a lot of women community, empowering other women. What are the plans for that, and anything new that you are working on?
So a lot of we're part of Entrepreneurs Organization, so where there's a forum for women to come together and empower each other. So I really appreciate such moments which allow you to actually share your thoughts and share your ideas with other women who are looking to be more, who are looking to do more. I think by sharing examples from your own life, there's so much of takeaway that can happen. For women to actually understand that it's possible to manage time, it's possible to do everything. And I see people coming up with fabulous businesses, fabulous initiatives, and it's great. It's exciting to see that we have so much talent pool, and really the future is female. So why not?
For sure. I think you and Jayshree ma'am are the biggest pioneers of that in Jaipur currently. So more power to women, and more power to, I think, mothers.
Yes,
working.
Yes,
it's at points I think you would want to prioritize one thing, and not being able to do that, and being okay with that choice.
Yes. Yeah, you have to make strong choices. You have to give up on certain things. You have to know where to draw the line on both aspects.
Yeah.
So
and I think you have to know how to shut down other people's opinion also after a point, because ever since I think you become a mother, everyone's opinions matter.
Absolutely, everybody thinks that they've parented already before you, and so on and so forth. So I think it's very important to have that support system where everybody lets you have your space as a mother, lets you make your own mistakes as a mother. That being said, I think it's also nice to learn from other mothers. So when there's a question, I have no hitches about reaching out and asking to say that tell me, how do I do this, or what are you doing about this, how can I handle this situation better. Books, I think, are the greatest resource for any sort of learning. So I've always been a voracious reader, and that helped me in my pregnancy also. So I read some fabulous parenting books.
Can you name some?
Of course. So there is one book, and I love the title of this book, and it's my favorite one, The Book You Wish Your Parents Had Read, by Philippa Perry.
Wow.
And How to Talk So Kids Will Listen. So both of these, I think, are brilliant when it comes to. There's also the Contended Baby book, which is extremely great. There is a statistical guide to parenting, a crib sheet approach. So it shares statistics about the right techniques, etc. And I think one book which is not directly related to parenting, but every parent should read, is The Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck. It's about how to, often as parents we praise our child if they come first. But you need to praise your child for even participating, because otherwise you're telling them that you get praise when you win. So what will happen is they will only enroll themselves in things where victory is guaranteed. They won't embrace the ability to grow. So that can only happen if you embrace the growth mindset. So
I was recently reading this quote that I feel really sad about all the art that we miss out on, because there was not perfection in the first go, and it's
so there's another book called The Whole Child Approach, and it's great because they talk about honing different skills of your child, and they talk about how letting your child explore and fail is okay, and it's okay to not color within the lines.
Right. I think the book reader inside of you wanted this conversation.
Yeah,
You
correct.
sound so passionate.
I
What's
am.
your
I really am.
favorite book of all times?
My favorite book of all times. It's a very difficult question, but I think a classic that I really love is The Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough, and fiction, of course, it has to be Harry Potter. It's one of the books that I've read multiple times, and it really, I think, teaches you to imagine.
Yeah.
So there is, of course, if you look at a classic, there's Thornbirds or Pride and Prejudice, and if you look at a fiction, it's Harry Potter. And when it comes to self-help, I really like Grit by Angela Duckworth, and I think reading Grit can just change the life of anybody, and I recommend it to all my students.
Yeah. Wow. I think you speak a lot about IB boards, and your students, the way you have groomed them is something very unique, and I wanted to explore more on that. And I think when we talk about grooming, I think doing that with your staff and your teachers is also very important. My real sister, actually, Ishita Nange, is a part of your school.
Lovely.
So yeah, I wanted to, and I've obviously heard her part of the her perspective of being a member of JPGS, and I wanted to know more about you. Like, how do you groom teachers who build these students to go into Ivy League schools, and how is that like?
Absolutely. So I think that being one of the largest IB schools in the country, there's a strong sense of responsibility that comes in about the education that we provide, and there is value seen in this education by students and parents across the country, which is why we have top academic performers from different cities moving to Jaipur just to be with us. And the way this happens is by direct involvement with teachers, in sending them for the right workshops, in hosting the right workshops in school. So IB teacher training sessions, giving flight to their ideas and vision also. So if a teacher has a particular way they want to teach, allowing them to do that, and encouraging them to do that, that it's okay to try a new technique and see how it works out. We also encourage teachers to learn from each other. So to share best practices, best documents, because in itself the school community is a vibrant community where so much of professional development can happen. So we really encourage that. There are days that take place where it's just the faculty in school and students are not present, where there is professional development for the teachers. We have a deep connect where teachers can walk into any of our offices and tell us about a problem they're facing. We don't want that, as management, we don't want teachers to be focusing on other issues which can be easily tackled, like making it difficult to get a permission for something, making it bureaucratic to get a resource. It's very easy. It's a one-step procedure. We don't want teachers putting in a requisition, waiting 3 weeks for it to be sanctioned. So we've streamlined all of that really well, so that their time can be put into better use, to effective planning, effective monitoring, classroom walkthroughs from one faculty to the other faculty's classroom, where they give a feedback to say that this is what we appreciated, this is what we felt could be done better. So there's actually so much that happens to continuously improve ourselves and our curriculum, even the soft curriculum, the extracurricular that takes place. Even for something like a competition, we want the topics to be relevant, not that it's a set thing which is continuing for ages. If we are doing an assembly on, say, food or nutrition for middle school students, we are talking about the nutrition of today. So we are teaching them to pick up a packet from the stores, and even if it says soya chips, turn it around and check what all is actually there in your soya chips. The sweeteners of today, stevia, the diets of today, we want them to know about it. So your scripts, your topics have to be constantly evolving to account for the changing world that we live in today. And as an IB school, our teachers understand that too. That's how the IB education is delivered with the right value.
Wow. I think we missed out on all of this education growing up. Topics of health, topics of sex
Yes,
education,
yes.
a lot of other things. I recently saw this Oh My God 2, if you might have seen.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. No.
I think the core that it covers, it's absolutely brilliant, and I would love to, and after you watch
Yes.
the movie, I would love to hear your thoughts on
Yeah.
that also.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of topics that were not covered,
Yes.
making them a part of the curriculum. When
Yeah.
I remember our moral science lectures were some random stories that were not even moral science related, and now that we see the curriculum, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yes, we really believe that a lot of this learning comes from the way you conduct yourself throughout the day. It's not about learning to be kind in that 30-minute moral science class. It's about learning to be kind in your day-to-day through your actions. So we counsel children that, in regularly, we have wellness ambassadors. So we want them to check on others to say, you know what, I think this student in my class looked a little anxious. Let me tell ma'am about it in case she needs to check in. So we want children to be empathetic. We want them to be kind. And this has to be displayed 24/7.
Yeah.
It's not within 30-minute time periods that you learn to be kind.
Right.
You learn to be kind by your maths teacher displaying kindness to you. You learn to be empathetic by your physics teacher talking to you about a struggle you faced, but encouraging you to overcome that and focus. So it's through day-to-day interaction that these character traits have to be imbibed. And when the whole faculty, staff, when all your students, they display that, that's when I think the magic really happens.
Any of these learnings that you got from the courses that you did and the awards that you won, were they affiliated with these learnings? You got this one degree in between that you were mentioning, no?
The diploma in early
diploma.
childhood education.
I wanted to ask if that diploma helped you.
I think
With
absolutely.
these
So I
things.
learned about all these different theories of education and these different philosophers. So whether it's Piaget, whether it is Howard Gardner, like I spoke about earlier, or whether it is Bloom's taxonomy.
Right.
So all these different concepts about putting the child in the center and understanding how the child's education should be structured. When you're taught about scaffolding, you understand that you need to meet the child where they are at their stage of learning and then help them cross over to the next stage of learning. So we can't expect as teachers to just give them some material and expect that they're going to suddenly reach and become scholars in that. We have to scaffold them in that process. So a lot of these learnings helped me as an educator, but also as a parent. So both of these things definitely have been very fruitful.
Wow. I would love to, talk about the recent awards that you've won.
Okay.
Please, I think, with all due credit, I think it's well deserved.
Thank
and tell us about that.
So I think that they just happened. We weren't focused on that and so immersed in our work. And I think that's when you really get recognized. So the Jaipur Moms community awarded me the Naritva award, as an empowered woman who is working. And that also came to me suddenly. And besides that, when University of Chicago, which is one of the leading universities in the world, they, I received this email to say that, you've been nominated by your students as an Outstanding Educator Award. And we have selected you for this award. It was a moment of pride. And it kind of instills in you the belief that you're doing something right and you want to continue on this path to continue delivering value to students, because it's only by that value that somebody would nominate you for that. So it was a surprise, and it was a well-received surprise. Similarly for education world, because both Ayush and myself had been really passionate about being the only school in India where the students don't take external counselors. And literally we've counseled students on Diwali day also. And we've foregone the Diwali work because a student had a deadline coming up and their work wasn't over. And this was something we did out of passion and not for an award, because we wanted our students, we believed them to be extremely talented. So we wanted our students to reach reach the universities of their dreams, to get opportunities that they would otherwise not get.
Yeah.
So when Education World gave us the award as the #1 college counselors in the country, it was something which meant a lot to us.
Right. Are there any practices of any external counselors that students should be beware of?
I think a lot of misinformation is there by external counseling agencies. I think there's a lot of desire to push students to do things so that you feel that okay, I have been of value, and so I have IB students who are told in other schools, a friend or a parent will ask me that our counselor told us we need to give AP exams. But if you're already an IB student, you don't need to give AP exams, because universities don't want to see how you are as a test taker. Your school exams are enough evidence for that. You're already in a very academically driven curriculum. And so if you're doing well in that, they already know how your test taking skills are. Rather, they say use your time to impact the community you live in. Do something for the village that's nearby. Do something for the staff in your house. It doesn't matter how small or big the impact, but how you choose, what you choose to do with your time is how you are viewed, because that defines your priorities. And so I think there's so much misinformation out there. Often I'll have a student come to me and say, not my student, but like a friend's son from another school in another city, who will come and say, okay, our counselor told us that we should look at this degree, because even though my child is interested in applying for, say, psychology, if I apply for business, I can get into the school much better. The application is showing your passion for psychology, so why misguide a child? So it's this misinformation that irks me. There are some counselors who do good work, I'm sure, but there's still a lot of misinformation that is spread.
Wow. I think when you're not, and as a parent, I'm thinking, they are not aware of all of these things, and getting your child pushed into a system like this.
Absolutely. So for that reason, I actually launched my own venture called UniReach, where I take students externally to counsel them. Of course, due to time constraints, it's not just, you can't just sign up. To do that, you have to be selected, because I can only take select number of students. I myself have so much work. So, but I'm doing that only because I want to correct this misinformation that is spreading. So, if I counsel one child in one school, they'll correct the information amongst their whole batchmates. So, to do that, and we used to get a lot of requests that, we can't shift to Jaipur because we have this constraint, but we would love to be counseled by you. So, that's why we launched, my husband and I together, we launched UniReach. And we've seen great response, and we've seen great, parents coming and saying, we didn't know of this. And I told my friends about it too, that this is not what you need to do. So we do see that information spreading. And we do pro bono work through UniReach also, where we counsel students from a few underprivileged NGOs and help them get scholarships in universities.
What a brilliant idea. I think that's the push everyone needs, and especially when someone's potential is untapped, and helping them grow. And pro bono, I'm sure the underprivileged students.
Yeah, there's some beautiful stories, because even in our school we have certain children on scholarship, and the parents could have been running a very small kirana store, and the child was on scholarship. Child got full scholarship to go and study at a top university in the US, and now working at fabulous consultancies like JP Morgan, sending a ticket to the parent and calling them to the US for the first time, changing the parent's life in India. So there's so many beautiful stories.
Education can really do that.
It really can do that.
It can turn around a family.
It can turn, and it has turned around families. So that's when I, coming back to our earlier conversation about law versus education, this kind of goosebumps, this kind of impact, it's far more.
How was Ayush as a husband and a partner for you throughout this journey? He's the amount of things that you are doing together, I think, shows. But I would want to hear it from you.
Yeah, I think this is a very important question that you have raised, and one that I love to answer. So many times some friends will also ask me, how is it to work with your husband the full day? And we didn't want to join the family business because we don't want to work, be around the whole day. But I think that it's amazing because you have somebody who understands your work, your challenges, and encourages you and motivates you the whole time. Like Ayush is my biggest cheerleader, my biggest support system, and without him none of what I've been doing would be possible. So he's always believed in me, I think far more than I have believed in myself. And that really helps because you have somebody by your side all the time. And of course, as a couple, you set things very clearly to make sure there are certain areas where you don't step on each other's toes, you know, so that it leaves out the fights. I think couples have enough to argue about without work becoming part
Another
of it.
one.
And touch wood, it's been now almost 9 years, and it's been a successful journey. And I haven't ever felt the concept that why am I working with my husband. I've enjoyed it, and it's also fun because you travel together for work. And so there's so many advantages from that.
I think the more you stay with that person, you know, there's it's a never-ending process. You know, you get to learn about the same person multiple times, and you know how they react to different situations, how they are as a person.
How they are, and that understanding is so deep. For example, we are hosting this huge event in school on our anniversary, 2nd September, and you know, I forgot about the date, so I was telling Ayush that, you know, why don't we take a short trip on our anniversary, and he reminded me of the event. Now, if I wasn't in school and if I wasn't equally involved, I would be one of the wives who says, you planned something on our anniversary and you know, we can't celebrate, and that leads to a fight. But I'm like, oh yeah, of course we have ISSO in school, we can't go, and ISSO is priority, so we'll do our own celebration later on in the day. But that understanding is immediately there. Otherwise you feel, oh, every time, you know, my husband is only busy in work and doesn't value our occasions. But I don't feel that. You are sailing in the same boat, so you understand the waves. Yes.
Wow. I think the man knows because of Jayshree ma'am also seeing his mother so empowered and working throughout. I'm sure she has had some hard times initially, and you know, and definitely as an entrepreneur, everyone goes through that lonely journey, and being the son of such an empowered woman, I think he knows how to handle other women with power very well.
Absolutely. I think he's you know, grown up watching mom's journey go from one student in the garage to the 10,000s of students you know, that are being educated under the Jayshree Periwal group of schools, and he's seen her work hard to overcome challenges till late in the night, so on and so forth. So he himself feels that sense of responsibility that now he's taking it forward, so he has to give it that much more. And you know, we want to give back more than what we receive. So take school to greater heights. That sense of responsibility is very deeply instilled.
Wow. I would love to unveil Jayshree ma'am's journey as well on this podcast, and
I'm sure she'd be happy to drive around.
Drive around the city and just talk about life. And this was a lovely episode with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this.
I hope this was comfortable and nice for you.
Absolutely. I truly enjoyed my car conversation.
Thanks a lot.
And it was a great ride.
Thank you so much. We look forward to meeting you over coffee, or coming to the school, actually visiting your office.
Yes, and I hope next time to hear about your work with Big Flex.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Bye guys, see you in the next episode.
See you, thank you.
Oh my god, what an information packed episode this one was. There was so much value every minute. I think she had so many recommendations, so many tips, hacks, learnings for, I think, everyone, for teachers, for mothers, for parents, for students, for people who want to go abroad, for counselors probably. And it was a fabulous episode. Talking about school and teaching, I have done an episode with a vocal coach that I would love to recommend you guys. Keep watching our episodes. We pour in our heart and our souls into all of the episodes, and the amount of love that we get is just beyond what we have ever expected. So keep showering that love. Subscribe to our channel. Comment your favorite part of this episode, and I love for you guys to read and recommend more books in the comment section below. Take care. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.